300 neural pathways die every single day in the brain. What are we replacing them with? And that's where the basal ganglia comes into fruition. Is if we're getting rid of 300 neural pathways that are usually bad because of our childhood trauma and upbringing, are we replacing them three with thought patterns of today that are based on childhood trauma? And 9 out of 10 times we are. So we know if we can reprogram that 300 every single day, we can change pathways, and there are billions, from self-sabotage to self-care, healthy, successful neural pathways, and the rest of the brain will join into that, and you'll become very successful, whatever that is. And the nice thing about all this is it's permanent.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Dr. Lowe Show. It's so great to have you. We have a brand new guest on the podcast and a topic that I think is super important to talk about and something we haven't talked a ton about on the podcast. You know, as you guys know, it's a health podcast. We talk a lot in terms of hormones, women's health, but we do touch on mindset, personal growth, personal empowerment, and, you know, things that keep people stuck. So we're going to be talking about addiction and different, you know, offshoots of that and how they connect. And we have Dr. Robb Kelly. He's a PhD. He's a sought after recovery expert. And he's all about treating the cause of addiction and not the symptoms, which is very much my language and how I practice. He's appeared on a lot of different shows that you're familiar with, like The Doctors, Good Morning Texas, Eye Opener. He's a contributor to radio and print interviews. And he also hosts Sober Celebs show on KLIF radio in Dallas. And he currently hosts the Breaking Through Addiction podcast, featuring special guests talking all about a variety of mental health issues. He's created Let's Get Back to 98% Recovery DVDs used in prisons and recovery treatment centers throughout the US, lectures on all things related to addiction and trauma. And he's also the CEO of the Robb Kelly Recovery Group. And he was telling me before we hopped on about their different offices all around the world. So just serving people worldwide. And he shares his personal highs and lows. This story definitely relates to him personally. And he overcame crippling alcoholism. And we're going to talk more about that. So without further ado, Dr. Kelly, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Great to be here, guys. It's going to be good. I can feel it already.
Yes, I know. Even if we just touch one person who needs to hear this, I feel like that's a success for sure. But I know it'll go in that. So I want to dive into your story. You know, why is this something that this is a focus for you? And just give us a little bit about what that looked like personally.
So I was born into an alcoholic family when people didn't know about alcoholism. So I took we grew up on the project, very poor. But I always wanted to be a musician, like my uncle and auntie, musical family. So at the age of 9, I'm on stage with them, playing guitar, and took my first drink at the age of 9.
Wow.
It was a ticking time clock from then for me anyway. And, you know, went through normal school, managed to get to university, drinking at weekend. And by the time I'd started my own business, I was drinking every day. And then it kind of got out of hand. And the next thing I know, and I'm not kidding you, I'm homeless. I've lost the 2 babies. I've lost the wife, the car, the houses. Everything was gone. Most of it I signed over to my wife for the children, but ages 1 and 3. But yeah, I mean, I died twice on the streets. Yeah, you know, I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish my bottle of vodka. Just crazy stuff. So it's so in depth that we could be here for the next 10 hours, but I knew that when I got off the streets, that I would spend the rest of my life finding out for alcoholism, addiction, childhood trauma, depression, anxiety, PTSD, Alzheimer's, and dementia is what we focus on, and what's really going on. Because I knew there was something more than just stop drinking. Because I couldn't do it. And yet everything else
Right.
turned to gold. I just couldn't do it. So that's what we've done for the past 25 years is study the brain and study the mind and the reactions to different things. And, you know, the medical fraternity was telling us that the brain is hardwired. But what we were telling everybody else is it's not hardwired. We can remold and redirect and repattern the brain. And here in San Antonio, Texas is where I live now. I became an American citizen about 6 years ago. And, we help a lot of people. I'm 11,000 patients in right now, over 20,
Wow.
30 years. I can't remember how long, but yeah, just 98% success rate, very aggressive about people can change and mindset can change. And what alcoholism really is, as opposed to what people think it is, and you can recover, and you can go on to live your best life, whether you're an entrepreneur or it doesn't make any difference. The mind, it's not about the alcohol, it's not about the drugs, it's not about the sex, the food. It's about the mind. If we can change the mind, we can A, become better people, B, become entrepreneurs, bigger businesses, family, get your kids back. You can do all of that if you know how the mind and the brain works.
Yeah. So when you think back to those days, how do you feel? Do you feel shame? Do you feel empathy for yourself? I'm just curious.
Great question. Thank you for asking that. The day they took my children off me, I had kept him for a couple of days and I was in a stupor. And when the police kicked the door down and come to save them, they hadn't been changed diapers or fed for 2 days. They'd killed their babies, ages 1 and 3. And my brother got the 1-year-old and my wife got the 3-year-old, and walking down the path, and the police are there and the services are there, child protection services. I mean, they're all there. And I was crying, and my daughter said 3 things to me. Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. Further on down the path, she said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And the last thing my daughter said to me 30 years ago was, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't. And shortly after that, everything had gone. So there was shame, there was fear, there was abandonment, there was disgrace, there was anger. Nobody could tell me what the hell I was going through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I scarred them 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them still have therapy today.
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago, my eldest daughter got in contact with me after 30 years, and we reunited.
Wow.
Well, so here's what happened. She texted me in the middle of the night on Messenger, and I've been following them both of them for years. And she said, Dad, call me Dad.
Mm. That must have been a real moment for you to hear those words or read those words.
I've actually got it printed, photocopied and printed on my wall at home. But she
Wow.
basically said, I want to see you. I don't believe what everyone's telling me all these years. I need to speak to you. I've got something to tell you or show you. So we have people around us, as you could imagine. And within 6 hours, we're on the plane, 4 hours, and go back over there. I'm staying in a hotel overnight. And then we go around to the house the next morning, me and my wife, and I'm scared and I'm crying, and everything's just horrible. The fear, the shame. And before I could knock on the door, she opened the door. So we fell in each other's arms, we hugged, we cried, we laughed, what seems like an hour, but it's probably 3 minutes. And then the pinnacle of my whole life was she took me by my hand and she led me into a living room, and she answered, and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
Mm.
And right there and then I knew I was doing the right thing. And 6 months ago, my youngest daughter got in contact with me. So everything's been rebuilt.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. It must have felt like another chance for you.
The couple of things I've learned is, if you're suffering from any kind of mental wellness, we don't call it illness, mental wellness, we get 2 lives in one lifetime. We get the first one that we mess up. We get the second one that we can do anything we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Literally do anything. And so back to the original question, I am not anymore. I've worked on myself. Childhood trauma is the gateway drug. It will kill you, period. So we have to go out and sort it out. So I've done a lot of work on my stuff, and it's about being in the industry for 25 years. 3 years ago, after my daughter came out and when the book came out, which was very healing to write, I found my place. I found my identity in this world.
Mm.
And it's absolutely amazing. Everybody should do it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you have a passion for it because you're reaching so many people now. So what do you think about the statement when someone says once an addict, always an addict, or I'm an alcoholic, even if a person hasn't drank for 20 years? What do you think about that?
I don't personally don't agree with it. And the reason why I don't agree with it is the neuroscience that we know today, because we're into
Mhm.
the neuroscience part. So we're kind of neuroscience experts before psychologists and behavioral scientists. That's exactly what I am. It doesn't add up. What it does is like it reminds yourself that you're still suffering from a disease or an illness that you probably don't have. And you're
Hmm.
probably being tagged an alcoholic when you're really not an alcoholic. I mean, 90% of people who say that they're alcoholic are not. They just drink alcohol. Get your shit together and stop drinking. There's that percentage that is. It's hereditary and 3 parts of the brain differ. So yeah, I don't call myself an alcoholic. Um, I don't go to meetings. I don't need that stuff anymore. The
Hmm.
more I'm going to the neuroscience. So if you want to call yourself that, that's fine. Keep calling yourself that. But I can tell you categorically that if you keep telling you something, your mind over and again, you're going to start to believe it. And then that becomes internal dialogue.
Right.
And
I agree with you completely. I think it depends on what maybe modality you're using or what tools you're working with. If you're working with tools that don't rewire the brain, then maybe that would be the case. And I can see for in my practice, people come in and they'll have a diagnosis that a doctor said they'll always have and it's incurable and they get cured, So I see that happen all the time. And it's just maybe those practitioners didn't have those tools, or maybe they haven't seen it personally, but it doesn't mean their limiting story is a person's reality. So I would love to talk more about the neuroplasticity, the neuroscience. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like what's happening with addiction? Like how does this kick off for someone and how could you possibly do rewiring to be able to move away from that story of addiction?
but the first mind-blowing statement is alcoholics are born and drug addicts are made. Now, alcoholism is passed down from generation. We've traced it back to imprinted genes in fetus level. So it's there. The parts of the brain that differ in alcoholics and anybody else in the world is the hypothalamus, basal ganglia, and the amygdala. 3 points that differ from any other person. Alcohol addiction is the addicted personality. Both show up the same, both terrible, blah, blah, blah. But 90% of people that come to us with a staunch drug addiction started in the doctor's office. So we're not a big fan of doctors, medical doctors.
Yeah.
I'll tell you honestly the truth, they don't know shit about addiction or alcoholism. They just don't. They're very skeptical of depression and stuff like that. Just want to give you a pill and everything will be okay. And it's not the case. You can be fully cured from addiction, whether that be food, sex, porn, drugs, makes no difference. TV, I thought 100%. We offer a money back guarantee if you relapse when you finish with us whilst following our program. With 98% success, so kind of know what we're talking about. So once you set the first drink, it's a ticking time clock. So we found out years and years ago that you can rewire the brain. And when I came out with this 15, 16 years ago, when I came to America, they stripped me of my license to practice, saying that I was dangerous to patients and stuff. Now, I lecture to those guys today. I just want to put that out there. 6 months to get it back. But you can rewire
Of course.
you can get rid and cure depression and addiction and everything else. There's no cure for alcoholism, but there's no cure for the common cold or food poisoning. The hypothalamus
Mhm.
is the guy, and the reason why it's a disease is because of the hypothalamus. Forget what else you've been told, it's not true. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. So when we get down to the hypothalamus, is our survival part of the brain. It controls our temperature, and it tells us from birth, you need to eat food and drink water to survive. Everyone's the same. We don't have to think about it. We just know.
Mhm.
When an alcoholic's journey gets to a certain point, the hypothalamus turns on us and it tells the alcoholic to drink alcohol only. So when the survival part of the brain is telling the alcoholic to drink alcohol only to survive, that's what we do, and the choice is taken away. Kids, families, loved ones, they're over there somewhere. The brain is telling me to drink alcohol. That's why we can go days or weeks without food and water when we're
Mhm.
drinking, because the survival is the alcohol. We're actually allergic to the ethanol in alcohol, not the alcohol itself. So when you understand this and you can understand now, you can rewire, you can repattern. Everyone has these self-sabotaging patterns. Everybody has self-sabotaging tendency and everybody has childhood trauma. Just alcoholics and addicts are more sensitive to that trauma. What might not sound trauma, just get
Mhm.
off that table, you stupid idiot. we hear is, get out of that table. We hear things differently. So when you add all that up, can you rewire the brain completely? 100%. 300 neural pathways die every single day in the brain. What are we replacing them with? And that's where the basal ganglia comes into fruition. Is if we're getting rid of 300 neural pathways that are usually bad because of our childhood trauma and upbringing, are we replacing them with thought patterns of today that are based on childhood trauma? And 9 out of 10 times we are. So we know if we can reprogram that 300 every single day, we can change pathways, and there are billions, from self-sabotage to self-care, healthy, successful neural pathways, and the rest of the brain will join into that, and you'll become very successful, whatever that is. And the nice thing about all this is it's permanent. This is not a temporary fix.
Right.
It's permanent.
Yeah. Because it's not just thought patterns that you're having, it's actual physiology changing, it's actual anatomy changing, right? Like you're actually making new neuron connections in your brain. And I remember on Instagram seeing like the first little video of that, seeing these neurons actually physically connecting, and it's like a new neural network. And it's just such a cool thing to see. And it's, if you don't use it, you lose it. So some of the old patterns die out. Use the analogy with patients of laying new roads and new construction, and you have a beautiful new freeway that you drive down, and the old ones just aren't used anymore, and they're not even routes you can take anymore. I kind of think of that as a visual,
100%.
but it's
That's
completely
exactly what
different, and
Yeah.
it's permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
It
that.
doesn't get bricks and mold on it, and you can't travel down it. And that's the idea. This is why it's permanent. Now, can you relapse? Can you go back? Yes, if you get complacent. That's the only thing that destroys people, whether you're a businessman or whether you're suffering alcoholic, addict, whatever. The only reason you go back and relapse as such is because of complacency. Because relapse come to me on alcohol. I'll never come on a Friday and go, hey, Rob, let's have a drink today. Never does that. It's a week or 2 weeks before I do that where the relapse happens. So if we can really explore what happens and understand what happens 2 weeks ago, then we can cure the drug addiction from the relapse. And that's what me and you could go out in the streets right now and we can ask 100 people, what's an alcoholic? And they'll all tell us it's somebody who drinks too much alcohol or they can't control that. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with that. And people want to concentrate in treatment centers like, just stop your drinking. I tried thousands of times to stop drinking, and I did it on thousands of occasions. Could I stay stopped? No. Why? The neuroscience and the quantum physics that we know today around addiction and alcoholism, it's impossible to do that. So I never frown on somebody relapsing. It's just telling you don't have the information that you need. One of the reasons why I still work today is I'm sick to death of watching people die of lack of knowledge about these things. It's like when you get depressed. What's the first thing you do? Oh, you need to go to the doctor. So you go to the doctor and you say, hey, doctor, I'm depressed. And he go, okay, while he's talking to you, he's writing a prescription out. If he doesn't ask you about your daily life, your diet, your exercise, family, work pressure, then we just have a high-paid drug people. I want to be really clear about that.
Yeah.
Not got the tools today from the doctor. They just dish out pills. Okay. We have people in all the time and they go, Dr. Robb, you don't understand that. I suffer from drug addiction. I'm also depressed. And I go, do you take anything for the depression? Yeah, I take this blah, blah medication for depression. How long have you been on that? About 5 years now. When the fuck did you think it was going to kick in?
Yeah.
Because it hasn't yet, but you're still taking it. If you look in the medical dictionary, the USA, we look at serotonin or depression, it's like a serotonin. That's it. There's thousands of ways of resourcing and replenishing that stuff within our brain. So this is very interesting when it comes to serotonin and dopamine. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins are the 4 chemicals every single day that need to happen in the brain so we are happy and successful. But, and here's the but, serotonin, dopamine, the 2 major ones that we need, are created down. So if we're eating McDonald's every day and, show me someone with addiction or depression, I'll show you someone that has bad gut. So if we're not producing them chemicals and neurotransmitters, then we're done. We're never going to perform at our peak performance. Everybody walks around about 50% of what they're capable of doing, and you don't even know. And
Mm-hmm.
you need to know.
Yeah, totally. Man, this
Mhm.
is so good. This is so, so good. I'm curious, getting more into the trauma piece, like how, in your experience, how can a person heal from actual traumas that they've gone through? I know, like, one of my best friends, I swear, she sees a therapist and she keeps seeing this therapist. They keep talking about the trauma. They keep trying to process the trauma. And it's like, I want to be empathetic to that and sensitive to it, but I just feel like continuing to revisit it just builds those neural pathways of the trauma, And
Yeah,
it seems like
definitely.
she never moves on from it.
If you're going to a therapist for more than a week and things haven't changed, you need a new therapist. This is
Yeah.
not complicated. This is not rocket science. If you don't know how to do it, then obviously it is. But I'm saying people normalized trauma back in the day. So if you know your trauma, that's not the trauma we're talking about. And that's very important. So if you've been, God bless, molested in the past, and you're talking to your therapist for a year about that, guess what? It still has you captured in that.
Hmm.
So what we need to do is you need tools. You need the 9-dimensional subliminal messaging that we have. You need brain spotting. You need photo modulation units. You need SE, somatic experience, NLP. You need lots of subliminal messaging. While you do it, you need to go back to the scene of the crime. You need to uncover, discover, and discard.
Hmm.
Like you said before, if I keep calling me an alcoholic, I'm going to act like an alcoholic. If I keep
Right.
calling me a genius, I'm going to act like a genius. So that's what I disagree with. But, you know, depression and anxiety, again, are not what you think they are. And they're both curable. But we say to people here, you have to pass an assessment to get into this place. That's one of the reasons we have high success rate. But, you've got to ask yourself some serious questions. Have you uncovered and discovered what's going on here? And most of them go, yeah, I dealt with that. No, without brain spotting and 9-dimensional work, subliminal work, it's the trauma that you don't know, but is stored in the subconscious brain.
Yeah.
So,
Tell me more about
so
brain spotting. That's a new term for me. A patient of mine's been doing it. It's been really helping. So, what is brain spotting?
brain spotting is a tool. It's a bit like EMDR without the flashing light, because that's what got people. That's why it died out a little bit. Brain spotting is going through the pupil into the subconscious brain, and it's monitoring the pupils while we're doing this with I have like a pointed one that I do, and you follow, and every now and again the eye will flicker. That's trauma. And you
Mm.
go in and pull that out, and you'll find many patients halfway through we go quiet and go, "What's coming up for you right now?" Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Remember, my uncle molested me. That's stuck in the subconscious. And without
Wow.
figuring out that action and behavior today is a direct correlation to that incident. It's why you can't keep relationships. It's why you're timid. It's why you don't trust partners, men or women. It's why you're behaving. It's why you've only got the job. This here, to say it correlates to this here, people say it's impossible. It's a direct correlation of how we act today. So if you're not happy with life, it's because of this, guys. This repatterns the brain around sensitivity, around relationships, intimacy. If you don't deal with that, you'll never have a relationship beyond the wildest dreams, and you'll never be emotionally available for your partner.
Yeah. That's fascinating. And it's like a blind spot, you don't know what you don't know, and it just runs things in the background.
All the time,
Yeah.
and these behaviors and patterns and stuff are stored in the subconscious brain, and you don't even know you're doing it. So if you have a girl, and everything I say, guys, we trial tested and research. We've done over $1 million on research about this. We're speaking to Robert Kennedy right now on behaviors and stuff about the spider pie. I just don't want to
Amazing.
go, that can't be true. It's true. If
Mm.
let's, for instance, a girl is growing up in a household where dad's an alcoholic, he comes over 3 times a week, him and mom get into a fist fight, and then she sees this violence and screaming. And then they go to bed and she's having little nightmares about that. But they get up the next day and husband said to wifey, hey, I'm sorry, I love you. I love you. I'm sorry. And she goes, oh, it's okay. It's okay. The child is brought up thinking that that is love. Violence equals love, or
Right.
violence needs to get attention. When she leaves the house and goes to college, she will 100% attract guy that ends up beating her, drinking or using too much, that kind of guy, because the energy of the mind.
Yeah.
To a state that if she attracts somebody who's kind to her, she'll self-sabotage that relationship.
Makes sense. And then she's like, why do I keep attracting the same jerks?
How
Not
many times have we
realizing
said
the root
that?
of it.
All of us. Yeah. And why do I end up with this guy? Because of you. You attract these things. You know, the mind is energy. You can't touch it, feel it, okay? And it sits inside the brain. Mind over matter. This guy can program everything you want. So the energy with another energy outside there of a human being, you're going to attract that because the parents have told you what you are, where you are, how to do it. So we attract that person. There's an instant attraction to that person, especially if we know that it's a bad connection. We'll still do it. We'll still go ahead and do it because it's a comfort feeling that we're wanting.
100%. And it'd be so easy to sabotage something that could be healthy for them, right? Because it's just uncomfortable and not familiar.
It's a natural, it's like a knee-jerk reaction. This is
hmm
where, you know, you've got to choose better, you're going to do it. It's a knee-jerk reaction that you don't even know what you're doing. So there was a girl, I use this scenario when I'm lecturing. Um, there was a girl back in the late 60s in England, schoolgirl, 15, 16 years old, that was snatched up the side of the street. There was a huge manhunt. All the papers were carrying this absolute huge manhunt, and they couldn't find her. So they pulled off the search. 9 months later, there's a police car following another car down a country road, and he had a broken back light, so we pulled him over. Now, back in the day, there was no internet, so the quick question that used to say is like, "Is this your car yet? What's in the trunk?" Yellow jacket, pair of boots. Open, yellow jacket, pair of boots. It's his car. Off you go. They asked this guy once, and he was skeptic. When they opened his trunk, there was a stolen screwdriver there. So now they're allowed to go back to the house and see what else he's stolen. And sure enough, there was lawnmowers, there was hammers, ladders. Now, how can you get ladders? There were ladders there. And they found a huge box in another room, 12-foot wide by about 4 foot high. And they said, we know you've got more stolen stuff in there. So they smashed the lock up, they opened it, and there was the girl that went missing 9 months ago. She was alive. She was battered and bruised. He used to take her out every day. He used to obviously molest her, wherever, shower, bath, whatever it was in the day, food and back in. The 9 months she was doing that, 9 months. Then the policewoman leant over. She took the girl's hand. She helped her step outside this box. She took her police coat off and she wrapped it around the girl. That's the first thing the girl did. She got back in the box. And that's what we do in life. As
Mm,
full as it is in relationships, as horrible as it is in work, jobs, or whatever, we stay in that relationships way too long because it's an immediate reaction that I'm getting hurt. This is horrible, but at least I know where to go back to every night, and that's my safe place. We do that with life all the time. We stay in relationships way too long. We stay in jobs way too long that we
yeah.
do because the mind is telling us that this is comfort and this is the way it's supposed to be. It's not the way it's supposed to be. You've been lied to. You can absolutely, if you can 100% be anybody you want to be. And when I first come to America, what Americans would say to me when I said that is they always rap back, well, I couldn't be president of the United States. So one thing they always used to say when I told them, let's forget political views. I don't give a crap about politics. We had a businessman run the country for 4 years with no political experience whatsoever. How dare
Mm,
you tell me I can't achieve your dreams? It's just not true. Somebody's put that there.
hmm Do you think it's ever important to revisit trauma at all? Like to process it at all? I'm just curious.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You have to process it to get through it. I mean, otherwise the behavior today will always be linked to that, and you always know
Right.
why. But 100%. I mean, we do lots of stuff to do that, especially the 9D breathwork therapy that we have is a
hmm
tool we've been using. But yeah, you have to process. We have whiteboards. We have different scenarios that we go through acting. We may if the father's passed away and we need to speak to him, we'll get a photograph of the father, we'll dress him in the suit that he used to wear, and all sorts of psychological stuff to get you over that and
Yeah.
realize that it doesn't make a difference what went on with you. You can't help that, but what you can help is seeking proper treatment for that so you can be free. Once you are
Right.
free and once you find your own identity, you become a very dangerous person in the nicest possible way.
And what sounds different to me about this approach is how much it is connected to the body, and it's not just about talking about it, right? It's actually how the body, I would assume with the 9D breath work, which I'm not familiar with, it's using the breath to help process the trauma, right? And I know somatic experience, there is imagery, but it's really about tapping into your actual physical senses and how it's related to the trauma. And I love SE. I think it's amazing. So am I on the right track with that? It's more than just talking about the trauma to process it, but really processing it using the body and the sensory input.
Definitely, we do that. The meantime, what we call 9D breath work is not breath work as such. It's subliminal messages from 9 directions to heal subliminally, because you don't hear the 9 direction. You hear music and one guy taking you through, and you might say, take some breath in and out, but it's not the key. The key is the subliminal messaging that repairs the brain. And like we're doing some early work on Alzheimer's and dementia right now with 3 patients we have. We've seen a 30% increase in short-term memory using this software. It's blowing what we can do with it. But yeah, we've got to treat I love somatic experience.
Yeah,
Because the body will tell you everything you need to know. And the most
I
powerful
agree.
in that to somebody is the gut feeling. The gut feeling is real. It goes back to the tribal days. We seem to forget that today. That when one of the got a gut feeling, it means something was going to happen, whether good or bad. They didn't know. They just know. So a real hard way to do it. Look at the gut feeling. That's somatic experience. What
Yeah,
else is your body telling you way before? And then comes the subliminal messaging that you're telling yourself. Well, I've got a bad back. Doctor said it'll always be bad. Well, if you keep saying that, it probably will be.
yeah,
I've got trauma. Doctor says, therapist said I'll never get over it. Well, if you're telling yourself that, you probably won't. You
yeah,
know, we don't believe in traditional medicine for sight, guys. If you have heart problems, whatever, I'm not talking about that. Just talking about was too quick to deal out sight meds for stuff we don't know. A, there's a new illness coming out every week. B, there's not one pill that you take that covers one ailment. They cover an array of things. So there's got to be side effects. I could say we go to the doctor, we get this. Why isn't anybody asking why my serotonin is low in the first place?
yeah, right.
Who's
It's
asking
like
that,
common sense question.
right? But in America and England, we've lost that way. It's like run to the pharmaceutical companies and get as much as you can, because if you come off the stuff you're on, medical advice first, but you want to come off it and go on the herbal side and the exercise and the food we eat, stuff like that to cure the depression. It's 100%. That's what we don't agree with, because we keep getting medicated. ADHD, I don't believe that ADHD is a deficit. We believe that ADHD is an overactive brain. It's not a deficit, it's an overload. So, then we track that and we demonstrate and we work and we science that. And, we get moms in the morning, they're coming to us and going, my kid can't stay at school. Can you see him? He's at the back of the class. He's always got to be the show guy. He gets bored. And we go, what do you give him for breakfast? He has 2 Pop-Tarts and he has some Fruit Loops.
Yeah,
Just rephrase that, mom, for you. You're giving him 80 tablespoons of sugar and you expect him to stay quiet all day? What's
yeah,
wrong?
it's cracked out.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
right.
totally.
That's what we're up against. Most of our food we eat is bad for us. If you pick up a health bar, which we did on live TV last week, 9 grams of protein, 0 fat. Oh my God, that's got to be so good for me. First ingredient, canola oil. Second ingredient, unknown oil. Third ingredient, red color. It's insane.
Yeah,
When you look at English McDonald's and American McDonald's, American has 27 ingredients in it. English have 6 ingredients, and one of that is salt and water. We know there's something not happening right now that we need. We're being poisoned by the pharmaceutical companies. And listen, before you start shouting at your screen, look up Dr. Robb Kelly in Purdue. We had a head-to-head. They went back. They filed for bankruptcy the next day. It was a powerful meeting. It was on a news program nationwide. Is they get us sick. The pharmaceutical companies and doctors keep us sick. When the third leading cause of death in the US is the medical fraternity, you've really got to look what's going on.
Yeah, right. It's a shock that that's even reported like that. You would think that that would be something they'd want to hide, but yeah, it's true. It's night and day. I love the work from Vani Hari, the food babe, just the information that she puts out there about the difference between ingredients from US products compared to Europe, even the same company that, they're making the exact same product and it's just night and day different. It's wild.
Crazy. Everybody wants cheap. Everybody wants quick. It's like you have to watch for your canola oils, watch for, certain kinds of oils that you get every single time. You need 4 oils in your life. And many people go, what? You just need 4 oils. You can look them up what they are, but that's all, there's 4 oils. Canola oil is bad for you. Sunflower oil is bad for you. And all these seeded oils that really come from oil in the ground, because that's where it started, with Rockefeller back in the day when he survived all the oil for locomotion engines. And when that went away, we needed something else to do with the oil. So he created a health board around him and convinced the world that oil was great for the body. And it wasn't. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
Oils, I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember.
It's crazy. I love the documentary Toxic Nation. My church recently did a showing of that, and I thought that was a really, really great. Just they did a great job of explaining that history that you're just talking about. Yeah, that's so with the program that you do with clients, you guys, it sounds like you do incorporate nutrition and the health part of it, right? Including the different rewiring.
Yeah, because that's where it starts. I've got the 4 oils here. So coconut, grass-fed butter, olive, and avocado. They're the 4
Love
oils.
it.
Leave everything else alone. But yeah, we start with the body. We start with the health. We start with what you're taking. 90% vitamins that you take off the supermarket shelf have arsenic in them. Look for cobalamin. I can never say that word. That means it's cyanide. Most of the vitamins you get from a store are watered down and not worth crap. So go to if you really want to start taking vitamins, let's look at what you eat, look at where you are psychologically, and let's start repairing the spirit side of you when your power. So here's the crazy part of the research that we did. Mind over matter. So my mind is energy, okay? When it connects with another energy greater than us, like God, universe, Uncle Jim, it makes no difference. When that happens, a neural pathway change happens, and we enhance that, your DNA changes. Why is that? I'm not the same guy as I used to be. It's very important that I know that today. I know my identity. Most people don't know their identity. It's work, it's the marriage, it's split up, it's, whatever it is, that's not your identity, guys. Find your identity with the tools we just mentioned, and you will live a life in the wildest dreams down time. I guarantee.
Yeah, it's a complete change in identity. Absolutely. Yeah, it's changing the story. And I know we talk a lot about neurodivergence on the podcast and ADHD and how folks with ADHD have had so much more negative feedback in their life than the neurotypicals, and how that just becomes this reel in their brain of how they talk to themselves. They start to believe that. And then they have to numb that because it's just too painful to bear. So it would make sense that addiction would be something that's more real. And like you said, that overactive brain, it can just be really hard to manage. So treating it from the root and also just rewiring that identity, I think is just so central to being able to overcome those patterns.
Yeah, and the basal ganglia is our repetition, strength, and confirms part of the brain. So you need to be a pilot. You need 30,000 hours in the air. Imagine a clock. this is the way it is. 30,000 of those becomes a working part of the brain. You don't have to think about it, you can just do it. What happens with people that are suffering from any mental illness is the pattern, like alcoholics and addicts, this is the pattern. 12 o'clock, we go on a bender. 10 after we come around, 20 after the wife lets us back in, 1/2 the kids come back, 22 you get that job offer, and 10 till you mess everything up and bring it down back again and smash it. And we start again and again. We need to break that cycle with alcoholics. The basal ganglia is broken around the 10 o'clock period, so you will always self-sabotage around it. So if you can imagine what we learn and what we are told is our basal ganglia becomes our actions. If you're hanging around 9 depressed people, you will become the 10. Basal ganglia and the mirroring part of the brain will pick that up, and you will behave that way. If you hang around 9 millionaires, you will become the 10. I mean, one person can change, one person can't change 9 people. 9 people can change one. So who's surrounding is very important. How do we know this? Well, again, experiment in our waiting room here. We have 9 professional actors come in and we pay for. And one patient, he said, come in, we're going to give you blah, 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 free of charge, which kind of doing a scientific test. You okay with that? And they came. The 9 actors in the waiting room were all set. Woman comes in, she sits down. What they were told was every 45 seconds, there was going to be there's going to be a buzzer. When that happens, we need to stand up 5-6 seconds and sit down again. That's all we need to do. And one by one, we'll call you as if your patient's coming in. The scene was set. Everyone stood up. Girl was there on the phone. She had a quick look up and down again. A minute later, everyone stood up. She puts her phone in the lap and now she's looking around at everybody. The third buzzer, this was like 3 or 4 minutes in, she stood up with everybody else. And she sat down with everybody else. Because now the mirroring trying to pick us up. We all want to fit in, so we fit in. The interesting part of all that is when we call the actors in one by one, she's the only one in the waiting room. She stood up.
Wow.
That's the power of the people around you. You can't change the 9 people. If you kept standing up in 45 seconds, the 9 people go, well, what the hell is she doing? But because the 9 people are all doing it together, she wanted to fit in. The brain goes, do it, just do it, just do it.
Yeah.
We find ourselves in that basal ganglia repetition, always failing, always self-sabotaging around the 10 o'clock mark. Everything.
Right. Just the importance of changing your environment. So if someone is trying to move on from addiction, maybe they're dealing with alcoholism, how important is it for them to not be around alcoholics all the time?
So the alcohol. So this is 2 ways. If you're around people that are recovering, let's say in an AA meeting, it's easy following that book, which is brilliant, and it will guarantee recovery. Then the communication from one alcoholic to another is very powerful. The meeting, the coffee, the socializing is very important. But AA meetings have gone way down. So if you go into meetings where people are telling war stories and people are 10 years sober and depressed today, it's like you need to get away from there, because your brain will pick that action up. And before you know what day it is, the internal dialogue will start. Once that starts, it's very hard to pull away from. Like I said, drop a pen, oh, you idiot. Stop saying that stuff, guys, because the conscious brain wakes up in the morning. And the conscious brain is where the magic happens. But the subconscious brain wakes us up. And the reason why it wakes us up is lack of oxygen during the normal circadian sleep pattern during the night, 2 and 5 o'clock. Everything's actually there. It's where most people die of natural causes of work. So when we wake up, no one's ever woke up laughing. Why? Lack of oxygen. So the conscious brain wakes us up. If you don't get rid of that guy in the first 10 minutes you are up and introduce the conscious mind, this guy's going to run the day. That's the bad day. That's the kicking of, that's moving, that's failing, that's not getting natural. This guy is going to run the day based on childhood trauma. So we have as things that we do, we get rid of that guy. And the conscious brain acts for 24 hours. Why 24 hours? Because the brain, certain parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. That's why if you look at life as today, it's now. Life stops tomorrow and it's surely not yesterday. So what can you do today that's going to matter? Because I can categorically tell you guys that you don't have time. Everybody thinks we have, I'll do that tomorrow. You don't have time. Can you imagine how many people yesterday have plans for today who died yesterday?
Yeah, right.
Why? Do it now. Do it now, guys. Or make a move towards it. We have a 7.3 second rule in our company. And that is, if you get an idea, you have to act on that. Like if I'm sat on the couch tonight and chips and Coke, I don't do that, but let's say, and Arnold Schwarzenegger comes on the TV and I turn to my wife and go, hey, I think you're going to the gym tomorrow. I ain't going to the gym tomorrow. She knows it, the dogs know it, even the cat walks by and goes, there's no chance. But in 7.5 seconds of me saying that, if I go to the bedroom and put my sneakers in, take it near the door, or even better, into the car, there's a good chance of it going. The brain's receiving a million billion messages all at once. So your thought of going to the gym is 7.3 seconds. Again, try, test it and research before it's gone. And then the next, oh, what tomorrow? What about breakfast? What about? You've got to act on it now and strengthen them your pathway thought patterns to make sure that they connect. Once they connect, you cannot disconnect them. We have the same video. It's unbelievable. But again, people don't know about this because we're stuck in this follow sheep world.
Yeah, totally. What do your mornings look like personally? I'm curious.
So I get up at 6 a.m. I quickly let the dogs out. We have 2 of these 4 dogs. And then I do what's called my breath work. So breath work, not as you know it, but let's flood. I do 20 exaggerated breaths in and out. 20. Subconscious, gone. Conscious, loves oxygen. So it's in. I walk into the bathroom. I do what's called my mirror work. Stand 6 feet away from the mirror. And I say, I love you 10 times. We'll replenish you. Yeah, we'll replenish. But don't stand near or do the makeup while you're doing it or shaving because you see all your blemishes. Subconsciously or consciously, that's how you think people see you. If you stand 6 feet away from the mirror, the blemishes disappear. When's the last time you went to work, guys? Hey, Jimmy, great to see you.
Right. So true.
Away, that's how people see you. And then do your teeth work, what we call teeth work, and that is alternate hands for a week. Left for a week, right for a week. So we're changing them patterns up, and your life will change. If you did this tomorrow morning, and if you want to call me whatever you can, because it's going to be true, you'll have the best day ever tomorrow. I don't care what you're going through, because most people will come home from work. Oh, you know, I've had a terrible day, wife. Oh, did you really have a terrible day? Or was it 5 minutes that you strung out all day?
Right.
Probably the 5 minutes.
What about nighttime before you go to bed? Do you have a routine?
Oh, yeah. So we just, this is amazing. So glad you asked me this. We've just managed the TV from the bedroom. Okay. Everything's changed. So we never eat after 6 p.m. And we have 1 full glass of water, preferably Celtic salt, lemon, and water. And then we get in bed around 9 o'clock. And then we've got the mister with nice things going. We got the rain on the Alexa thing going, and we just drift to sleep, And for me, it's great going to sleep instead of passing out and waking up instead of coming round. We used to do so. Then nights we get 8 to 9 hours every night. I'm 64 years old. I need that shit. You see, these guys, you know, Doc. These guys, like I work 4 hours a night, and that will come back to me when you're 40 and you're 80.
Right.
Oh, well, I work well under pressure. No, nobody. So here's the normal guy. Boss comes in. Jimmy, I need that report by Friday. It's Monday. Oh, boss, I got it. I need it. No, I got it. Don't worry. Tuesday goes, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, I've got it. Friday morning comes, and he's not done it. And it needs to be in by 12. So he spends 4 hours frantically going through stuff. And at 5 to 12, he presses send, and he convinces himself he works well under pressure.
Right.
Works well under pressure, period.
Yeah. That's definitely an ADHD story that's common for sure. But it's definitely not healthy. It puts the body in that stress state. So this is just such good stuff. I love it. Is there anything else that you would want to share with listeners just about this? I think people listening, I think they can definitely feel overwhelmed and sometimes can reach for substances or coping mechanisms just because they do feel overwhelmed. So, if someone's listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I really need this work, and I obviously got to dive into doing this program, anything today they can start with as a baby step?
Do the morning work we just spoke about, guys. And the most, can you imagine? We overthink and worry too much about nothing. Once you cured one worry, we can go on to the next worry.
Yeah.
Imagine being there at 80 years old, looking back to your 30s and realizing nobody was watching and you really could have done anything you wanted to do, because
Mhm.
that's the truth. Nobody cares. Nobody's coming to the door tomorrow with $1 million check and a beautiful wife, but nobody's coming, guys. This is down to you. And you are 100% capable of doing this. And if you're in that place, if you're in that place, guys, and I truly mean this, and you're deciding whether to not live in this world or live in this world, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to call me. Oh, no, text me. 214-600-0210 is my cell phone number. I want you to text me, and do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to text you back, and we'll arrange a 15-minute pep talk that will change your life. And people think I'm crazy because I do that. I would rather spend 15 minutes on the phone with you than hear of your death next week. Because together we can conquer this. I know what it feels to be alone and abandoned when I was homeless. I died twice on the streets. I couldn't live in this world anymore. And they brought me back to life twice, and I hated them guys for that. And that is that you can do this. Now, I don't care what it is. It's not as bad as you think, and it's only temporary what you're going through. So,
Mm.
moms, if you're sat in a one-bedroom apartment and the husband's taken off and you've got 2 babies and you're at the crossroads, I freaking love people at crossroads. I love it, man, because we can build you a new life, or you can go to somebody that can build you. The golden rule is, if you see a therapist or a coach or whatever it is, if you don't come out that first session going, wow, get somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you need someone to hype. I do a TikTok every morning. I don't want to do TikTok. I hate TikTok, but it inspires so many people. Get up, put your best face on, get showered, get changed, whatever it is in the morning, and write 5 things. If you've not heard anything on this show, hear this. Write 5 things in the morning that you're going to complete that day. Now, it could be 5 simple things: breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is. Write 5 things down. You may do 1,000,000 things that day, but you have to complete the 5 things that you wrote down. Brain and to paper, very powerful. When you can check every single one off during that day, you've taken a step forward to being successful, whatever that looks like. For you, best mom, best employer, earn $1 million. It doesn't make any difference. It's all possible. We've taken podcasters from $200 a week to $1 million a year. It's not what you think it is. Everything changed here. My situation changed. My financial situation. It's got nothing to do with anything outside me. The reason why you're not seeing these blessings, the reason why you're not seeing these opportunities, and you're always looking on the dark side, is because your brain is programmed to self-sabotage. And it does. Fear will kill you. Live now. If you live right now, like, what can I do today? If you're a mom on their own, get on the internet, find money, create your own business, knit a pair of socks a week and sell it on the internet. Silly things, and build it with a passion, knowing 100% that you can recover any side thing that you're going through, recover and go on to rule the freaking world. It's on my business card, the best addictionologist in the world. Prove me wrong. Because when you start telling that to your brain, so you become, and I know we're running out of time, but I've got to tell you the story, guys, to prove that. We went to a school many years ago. Childhood friend was the headmaster, ages 9 to 12, I think. And we told him, I said to my friend, we can come in your school and tell you who the best 3 pupils are going to be. And he said, that's impossible. They're 9 to 12 years old. Can we do it? Went to the board. Yes, we can. We went round, 30 pupils, good kids, handed out this test exam, collected it, went home, come back the next day, and we said to the headmaster, here's the 3 kids that are going to be geniuses. He said, Mary? Yeah, Mary. You'd be surprised. Jimmy and John. They're going to be the guys that are going to change the world. We'll come back in a year's time to see if we're true. And we never spoke to him for a year, and we went back. And the moment we walked through the door, Doc, he came up and said, oh my God, we need to take this to the government. How the hell did you know? There's 3 kids. Oh, this is blowing my mind. I wanted to call you. And how did you do it? And I said, well, first of all, we left there, we threw the papers away, and we picked 3 random kids from your school. And because we told you they were geniuses, so you treated them like geniuses, so they become geniuses. And that's the way life works.
Mm-hmm. And we can do that for ourselves, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
compliment people every day. Make somebody's day, make somebody laugh. Be the annoying guy on the elevator that starts talking to, hey, how's your morning going, guy? Be that guy. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, because it picks you up. It makes life worth it. If you're in a marriage that's horrible, you're walking on eggshells, get another wife or husband. If you're going to a job every day with a boss is horrible, get another job. Well, it can't be that easy. It really is that easy. Stop
Mm.
living in that comfort zone. Stop believing that you are less than. Don't suffer. So don't put up with anything less. Stop suffering. Don't put up with anything less in its geniuses. We attract what we think we are worth. We can't
Mhm.
attract what we want if we think our worth is low. Therapists all the time are calling me. I've started my own practice, Dr. Robb. How much should I charge? And my answer is always the same. How much are you worth? If not,
Mhm.
I don't know. But if you don't know, nobody else does.
Yeah. Yeah. And little by little, right? Like even if it's like 1% better daily, you're still making that progress. You're still laying new groundwork. So it doesn't have to be a full overhaul because that can feel overwhelming, but you just keep moving in that direction and you
Yeah.
will develop different trust with yourself and a new identity. So I love this. I could talk about this all day, but obviously, time is a thing and I hate that, but it's okay. But I know for many of you listening, this has been, a breath of fresh air. Definitely check out Dr. Kelly. We're going to put the different show notes or the links in the show notes and also your phone number so people will start blowing you up. But we really appreciate your time and being with us today. I feel my whole day is different. So I might have to
Oh,
join TikTok, which I never thought I'd say.
thank you, Don. The same way. Well, you're an amazing podcaster. You're probably in my top three of vet podcasts because you don't over talk. You're intelligent questions. You look amazing, sound intelligent. This is good.
Well, you're
Thank you.
just genuinely interesting. So thank you for being worth the time. Enjoy your day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. You too.